Hello, everybody, and welcome into the 41st edition of Cleveland Sports Realm. And I'm going to steal a page out of Kevin's book tonight in honor of my favorite all-time baseball player, Carlos Santana. This is the 41st episode of Cleveland Sports Realm, also known as a tribute to Carlos Santana. We're going to talk about him for the next hour. I can't do that to you. I don't want to lose my viewers in the first handful of minutes, but I mean, if I was doing a pod, I would listen to that. I don't know who else out there would besides his mom and dad, maybe.
I did not think
wife.
you were going there with that. A whole 41st, just an entire special on Carlos Santana's career.
Oh, yeah. We're going to go all the way back to when he made the debut in June of 2010. No, we're not.
No.
All right.
My goodness.
But, yeah, I will say this episode is dedicated to Carlos Santana.
The Carlos Santana special.
That's right. All right. So we are going to actually talk about Carlos and his teammates in a little while. But just like every other sports show in Cleveland, we got to start with number 12 on the Browns, baby, Shedeur Sanders, who hurt his oblique today.
Yeah, he hurt his oblique today as we record Wednesday night.
Yeah, this is Wednesday, a little late night action going on here.
Yeah.
Late evening. And, yeah, I think it's disappointing. I'm going to get right into it because Shedeur Sanders, I didn't get a chance. We both had talked about this.
Yeah.
We weren't going to be able to watch the game live. But, boy, Kevin, my eyes opened, and they were on the phone watching the game back a little bit, watching Shedeur go through it. I know it's preseason. We've talked about this in the past. Deshaun Kaiser's looked good in preseason. There's been numerous other Browns flameouts who have looked good in the preseason. Shedeur did look great in the preseason. I'm going to go a couple different ways with this. I'm not going to freak out. Also, much better than Shedeur looking bad in the preseason.
Of course.
And I thought there were a few throws there in his reps that he got that I said, wow, those are NFL caliber throws things that I don't remember seeing him on tape do at Colorado, and I was very excited. And I know I'm a wrist up guy.
I am.
I'm big time, and you're not.
Yeah, I'm not.
You can't stand the guy. But needless to say, even you, Shedeur hater, can say he looked damn good.
Yeah, I thought he played a good game. You know, I didn't think it was great or amazing how, you know, the Bleacher Reports and the ESPNs are coming out and, you know, Shedeur Sanders' debut looks excellent. Like, I thought he played a fine football game. You know, he averaged 6 yards per attempt, 14 to 23, just under 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think he definitely got away with some throws. And he made some good throws as well, some throws on the run. There was one he took for a loss, but he showed his escapability that we didn't really see too much at Colorado. So that was very intriguing to see. And that first touchdown, I know he definitely threw it into a very narrow hole. I think against a better defense that probably gets picked, it was a pretty close. But, I mean, he got it through, and it was a touchdown, so you got to give credit where credit's due. But, yeah, I thought he had a fine performance. It is disappointing. It looks like he's going to be unlikely to play this weekend against Philly, though.
Yeah, and that is really disappointing because I think, you know, here the Browns go again, and in the sense of they redo their whole medical staff. I mean, they parted ways with some high-ranking medical officials in that building, and they revamped that whole medical staff, and we're still dealing with all. I mean, the bottom line is we got 6 quarterbacks here. Dylan Gabriel stinks for one and is hurt for 2. Kenny Pickett, his hamstrings must be like a strand of angel hair pasta. I mean, his hamstring injuries kept him out for a long time. Shedeur's got the oblique now.
The albatross.
I was going to get to him last. I always save him for last. Joe Flacco, they've had literally wrapped in bubble wrap in a UPS box just trying to ship him to September 7th.
Right.
And then Tyler Huntley's here as a camp body.
And he might have to play the entire game against Philly.
And then the albatross is just hanging out, just
on the sidelines wearing a number 4 hat.
Just hanging around.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally just there.
I don't know how else to say it. Like, he's there, and, you know, God can only hope that he doesn't play this year. I mean, because if he, I mean,
you think he does?
I mean, if these other guys,
I mean, think about what organization we're talking about now.
Yeah, I know, but that's the problem. I think if the I think from what the owner said, and I keep going back to this. I keep circling back to his comments at the NFL owners breakfast and or head coaches breakfast and the owners meetings back in Florida many months ago, back in March, when he said we took a swing and a miss.
Yep.
If the owner says that, I just don't see, unless literally all those other guys are on season-ending injury reserve, how they put them back out there. And I also don't, like, this is a business at the end of the day. If fans know, and it's a home game, it's got to be a road game. If fans know that it's a home game, that place will be empty. They won't go see him. They will
You
not
don't think
go,
so?
They will not go watch that abomination of a quarterback because
Funny story, actually. Quick sidebar on this. So my oldest brother has been trying to go to the home opener every year for the last like 4 or 5 years, and my sister-in-law, his wife, had told them that they are not getting tickets to the opener if Deshaun Watson, if the Albatross is starting for this team at all.
Yeah, no.
So there are people that truly believe that.
No, and
I mean, there's a lot of them. I'm not
no.
saying that as like a
No. And your
Yeah.
family's, I think, an example of, the masses out there. I mean, think about it. We could go back to, and we've talked about it many times, his last time on a football field on a football field period was him getting booed louder than any quarterback I've ever heard in introductions, followed by people going ballistic because in a ballistic excited cheer because he had popped his Achilles.
Do you remember when they were booing him too in the intros? He came out and still threw up his fork and pointed up to the sky.
Yeah, I was there. I saw from the sideline. I said, "This guy
dude.
tone deaf."
Oh, it's completely tone deaf. It's insane.
So, you gotta hope that the Shador oblique is precautionary, because they've been babying him quite a lot the whole camp. He's gotten the least reps. He's got it's. And
I don't know if I'd say that's babying him.
Well,
Or is just more so where he is on the depth chart.
Right. And, but what's interesting about that, and I know that me saying this sounds, because I've obviously been very high on the kid, but also, like, from everybody who's out there, and I haven't yet to been out there, I mean, you're talking fans who have been out there, media, like, he has clearly looked better than Dylan Gabriel, but Dylan Gabriel still gets more reps. Is this the Browns trying to be the smartest people in the room already, and we haven't even played game one yet?
I mean, they're pretty notorious for trying to be the smartest people in the room and not necessarily doing, the most common sense thing to do. I mean, we talked about a little bit last week, just with them, trading down from Hunter and then taking Judkins over Henderson when Henderson was like minus 500 to go to the Browns. Like, there's always, like, when there is the common sense, or I shouldn't say common sense, but the majority feeling is going one way, the Browns typically go against it.
Right. So are they literally trying to already prove that we were smarter than everybody else by putting a third-round grade on Dylan Gabriel?
Probably. I mean, how do you have those two guys, one drafted 2 rounds in front of the other, and have him behind the other one on the depth chart?
And
we talked about this last week because I compared this to why I had liked those Mike Pettin teams, is they weren't afraid they didn't care where you were drafted or where you were.
Right.
Talent-wise.
And I hate to, and you did make that comparison. It's a strong one. And I do hate to, like, sit here and whine already about this because I don't want to sound like, Shador Homer already. Part of the Shahive is Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin.
Oh, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
That's
but
funny.
At the same time, like, I mean, if the kid's clearly be performing better, let him do it. And, like, what I hope that Gabriel is healthy enough to play this weekend, because I think it's only fair. You have 2 rookie quarterbacks. Shador got to play, a whole half in Carolina for, all intensive purposes.
Yeah.
Now, I think you got to give Gabriel the same amount of time. And if then...
Yeah, but it's unlikely that he's even going to play against Philly, I was reading. He's still unlikely to play, isn't he?
Yeah, I heard he's questionable, so we'll see.
Okay.
I mean, I think, like... It's only fair. Hopefully Gabriel's healthy enough to go. Then he gets to play a half, and then we have something to compare and contrast it to. And then, I mean, those are, okay, it's preseason. It's vanilla defense. We know the whole 9 yards, the whole drill. But if Shador's half against Carolina was clearly better than Dylan's, then I think that's time to move slot Shador up to that with a little 3 next to his name.
Well, sure. If somebody's better than the other person, I would like to think that I fall into that camp, into where like I don't really care where you're drafted or how much money you're making. If the other person's playing better, then they should be in front of you on the depth chart. Right. And I do want to go on record, like I don't have a great feeling about Dylan Gabriel being an NFL quarterback.
No, I think he's going to be off.
I just don't. And if Shador's better, then he should be ahead of him on the depth chart. You're not going to hear any arguments from me out of that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like when you don't. We like when you give Shador a little props. We like that on this side of the room.
All right.
Producer Derek, he probably likes Shador.
He might.
He don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Anyway. Well, anyhow, I think that again, it was a positive experience for Shador, and then the first, go around with the joint practice with the Eagles, which a lot of people were really excited for, because joint practice with Carolina was one thing they stunk last year, just like the Browns. Joint practice against the defending Super Bowl champs is a whole different ball game.
You should be getting some good reps in this week.
And unfortunately, the guys we want to see get reps aren't getting reps. Like, Flacco's going to be out there, but like, I feel like I can literally, Joe Flacco cannot throw a ball the entire preseason and training camp, and
he'll be fine.
We'd both sit here and be like, we know what we're going to get from Joe Flacco.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, Shador, there's so much intrigue. I have close to zero intrigue for Dylan Gabriel, but I think it only is fair because you drafted him. I could, if they didn't draft him in the third round, I'd probably be okay with them, releasing Dylan Gabriel today.
If he was a sixth rounder.
I got no interest in from what I hear and see, the videos online and what I hear coming out of camp, I mean, it's been putrid. So
I've seen a couple clips that he did not look good in.
Yeah.
So
that's very, very diplomatic the way you put that. Nice job. Because I just said putrid. I mean, I'm being a little more strict. And the thing is, again, I keep going back to it, Shador shined in his one opportunity. We'll see how the rest of this thing goes. I don't envision Joe Flacco the way that they're treating him. They have literally, like I said, they have bubble wrapped him and packaged him in a UPS box, and they plan on dropping him off September 7th at Huntington Bank Field. So, and Tyler Huntley the same way. I have no interest in I know exactly what Snoop Huntley is and
exactly.
what he's going to do.
Yeah, and he's probably going to have to, like I was saying earlier, he might have to play this entire game against Philly, because it sounds like a lot of the QBs are going to be out. Like you said with Flacco, they have no plans on playing him. Pickett going through his injury. Gabriel and Shador both going through their injuries.
Yeah.
And the Albatross, there's no shot he's going to be stepping foot on the field.
Well, yeah, I mean, they said he's beginning throwing again. Boy, I can hardly contain my excitement. I mean, I just don't. I really, honest to God, I'd rather see them do what they did in 2008, where if it came down to him having to play, or when the Browns ran out of quarterbacks in 2008, they all got hurt, and they signed Bruce Gradkowski on a Tuesday and he started on a Sunday. I genuinely would rather them go that path again than watch Deshaun Watson take a snap.
I actually think I agree with you on that.
I have not missed a game, watching or listening, live basically while the game's happening or being there since 2017, when a very close family friend, I had to attend the funeral. I couldn't make it. Okay. Couldn't make the game I was supposed to go. It didn't happen. But literally, it would really take a lot for me to watch that game if they announced he was starting. They might be smart enough where they wouldn't do it, where they would just be like, decision, he's got to start.
Oh, they just wouldn't announce it until basically kickoff?
Because they wouldn't want people.
I feel like it would come out beforehand. It would have to come out before the game at some point, right?
If it was a home game,
because they have to drop the active players, so you'd have to see.
Yeah, but that's already Sunday at 11:30. That's 90 minutes before.
Yeah, right.
Or 10 or 11 o'clock, I think, is when that has to come out. So literally, I think it would have to be a road game, because I mean, if it's a home game, there would be people who have tickets that would make U-turns at the gates. They would not.
Yeah, I don't want to see him ever wearing the brown and orange again. I really don't.
I don't even like seeing him on the sideline.
No, it is a little bit repulsive when I saw him on. I just don't like him being affiliated with this team anymore in any way, shape, or form.
I'm over there, obviously, as I keep saying, I'm big on Shador, and I'm just I see him like Shador and him standing next to each other, and I'm like, please do not poison the young quarterback who has a chance to be our future. Let him, please stay away. It's like remember when we were kids and the stuff your parents didn't want you to touch? They'd put Mr. Yuck stickers on. Do you remember those?
No, my parents never did that.
Okay.
Your parents did?
They did, but also like in my daycare, there was a lot of them too.
Okay.
That I remember. Like I just feel like I want to put a giant Mr. Yuck sticker over his face and just like
get away.
Don't let Shador.
Don't let anybody touch him.
Don't let Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's probably smart enough that he doesn't want to talk to him. But speaking of Shador, one last thing before we move on here. A couple other Browns news and notes. Did you see the thing of him and Miles, the mic'd up?
Oh, about him like trying to spin away from him?
Yeah.
Miles is like, yeah, I wouldn't have fell for that.
Yeah. And then when Miles was like, Shador's like, I just want to get hit by you or whatever. And Miles is like, he goes, we're going to need you, son, and you don't want that.
Yeah, I did see a little bit of that clip. Yeah.
So that was funny. More negativity with the Browns. Boy, I can tell you what, Jimmy Haslam, instead of building the dome, he got to build a racetrack. Miles Garrett, 1-2. And it was like, I think it's his like 7th or 8th, according to Fox 8.
Yeah, another one over 40 miles an hour.
Another one in the triple digits.
Or over 40 miles an hour more than the speed limit, I should say.
So this one obviously was at 2 o'clock in the morning, which was Saturday morning, late Friday night, whichever way you want to look at it. Technically Saturday morning, which adds up to where he was. He was going home from, when the plane had touched down in Cleveland, and he decided that he was going to open it up on 71, apparently. And, I remember when we went back and forth with this, when we had Philly Ann on the podcast, with Shador doing it, and you were very upset. And
that was your brother on that episode.
Oh, that was my brother?
Yeah.
Okay, you are right. Yeah, good correction. When Shador did it, it was like I wasn't that upset at all about it because rookie, young kid. Miles is a 9-year veteran.
Well, and this is like his 5th or 6th offense.
This is like his 7th one, according to Fox 8. One of them, which resulted in him, he could have been dead from that one.
Yeah, the one that he rolled over.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who wears the C every year. I'm a little bit more ticked off about Miles way more ticked off about Miles, I should say, than I was Shador. Young kid versus this guy's 30-some years old.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one. Absolutely.
So you must be fuming pissed. Because
no, and I am because, this is Andrew Berry comes out, like a month ago, a few weeks ago, whenever the Shador one happened. I want to say it was like actually a little bit over a month ago now. I think a month and a half. It was his opening
training camp presser.
And Andrew Berry's saying, we can't, we got to have, got to be smart and accountable. That seems to be what, him and Stefanski love saying, yet they don't have smart or any accountability, or they don't have any players that are smart or accountable. So, then there's Myles Garrett, like you said, Jerome, with the C on his chest that's trying to set an example. Your boy just a month and a half ago was going 40 miles over the speed limit, and then you just basically copycat that behavior a month and a half. And Andrew Berry's going off about... Yeah, and Andrew Berry's going off about this a month and a half ago about, Shador needs to be smarter. I better hear a very strong statement from Andrew Berry about Myles Garrett, because the way that he talked about the team this past offseason, the way he went about this whole, I'm going to leave, it's not about the money. Oh, wait, you're going to give me, $100+ million guaranteed, 4 years, $160 million. Okay, I'll come back, and let's forget that I ever trashed this city. Andrew Berry better say something about this, because this is unacceptable to me.
Well, I agree, and like I said, Shador, hey, you're a rookie, man. It's one thing, but the Browns have had speeding problems going all the way back to Josh Gordon. You're going back damn near 12, 13 years ago. They've had this as an issue, and Miles has never, been gotten a DUI or anything like that. He's had one consistent problem, and it's been speeding, and someone ought to tell him. And I don't know who could get through with him, and I get it. Look, and I said the same thing about Shador. You got these multi-million-dollar, or not multi-million, but very, very expensive cars. You get the drift, right? And yes, it's so enticing to hit that gas pedal to the floor. I get it. I'll be honest with you. I'd probably do it once or twice if I had one of those cars. But the bottom line is, I'm some guy who hosts a podcast once a week. Miles Garrett, you're one of the 3 most popular athletes in the city.
Yeah.
There's a hell of a difference between me or Kevin speeding, or even producer Derek, and Miles Garrett doing it. And, oh, by the way, 7 or 8 different times.
Well, yeah, and you're supposed to be a role model. This is somebody that kids look up to. The 8 through 13-year-olds that are really looking up to these athletes, and you're getting these offenses constantly. You're supposed to be better than that. You're showing up at these schools, hosting these events, and I don't want to make too big of a deal about it. I'm only doing so because it's like his 7th offense.
Right.
But it's not like he went out there and did an actual felony or something like that. Like he was going fast on the highway. So, but still, you got to set an example. You're a representation of this city. Like you said, Jerome, one of the 3 biggest players in the city, arguably the most popular.
Right.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, I don't know because of how, it'd be nice if Barry said something, but obviously because of how rocky the relationship was this past offseason, I could see them just sliding this one right
I could
under the
absolutely
rug.
see them doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want folks to see we got the Miles Garrett bobblehead here, and we're going to show it, and we're gonna slap him. Shame on you.
That's ridiculous.
Can't keep having this happen, man. No good. No bueno,
Wow.
Miles. So I don't think the team's going to reprimand him, so Kevin and I are going to reprimand his figurine here.
Yeah, Miles, you got to do better.
Yep.
You got to be better.
Yep. So, but anyhow, any other Browns news and notes we want to say? Luke Floria, obviously the Menor high school receiver, local kid who was, really the talk of camp. He was that every year you have one of those,
Yeah.
talk of camps.
Damon Sheehy Giuseppe was one a few years back, the Freddie
remember
Kitchens
him.
year, 2019.
Yep. Way back when Shane Wynn, who was also a local.
Shane Wynn was up there.
Yep. Ronnie Hickman was, and he's turned out to be a pretty damn good safety.
Yep.
So.
And then who was the receiver from last year, 2 years ago, number 80?
Austin Watkins.
Austin Watkins. People wanted him to make the active roster big time.
Yep. So Luke Floria was that guy this year, and he actually did make a couple really nice plays in the Carolina game.
Yeah, he did.
And,
one of those, Sanders made a good play on one of them, scrambling out and then threw it to him, the one-handed catch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great, we were hoping to see that for years to come, but he actually was waived with an injury designation. He did clear waivers, so now he's back on injury reserve, so maybe the Browns could stash him, and he's still around, which is good because kid was impressing early in camp. So, and they need the healthy bodies, and obviously at receiver, like we said, it's Jerry Jeudy, and we don't really know what else, but then again,
we're really counting on Njoku and Fannin, I think.
We've talked about it extensively. Yeah, Harold Fannon's also been pretty highly regarded by the people who are out there every day in Berea.
Yeah.
So that's good to see, and we've talked about it extensively on the podcast. We're excited for that tight end combination, that tight end duo.
Yeah, we are.
Again, the second receiver I don't think is super important, but still it's kind of very much up in the air. We'll see.
Yeah, I just want somebody there that just with reliable hands. I know, if we're going to throw it to them on third down, if it's 3rd and 4 and they got to run a quick slant, I want to know that ball is going to be caught and we're going to continue the drive. I don't need anything flashy out of the number 2 receiver.
My gut tells me, just based off what he showed when he was healthy last year, I would just assume Tillman's going to win it.
I think it's going to be Tillman too.
Yeah, I mean that's just based off.
Plus, he had that really good 3 to 4 week stretch.
That's what
in the latter half of the year. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
and then he got hurt with a really bad concussion, and that kind of ruined it. But I think Tillman's shown enough that he probably deserves that.
I think so too.
He's put enough good tape out there. The biggest question, Cedric Tillman's had some really good games. The biggest question with him is his health.
Always.
This is year 3, and maybe third time's a charm. He could put it all together because the first 2 years, it's like we see the flashes, and then right when the flashes peak and seem super high, the guy gets placed on injury reserve, and it bums you out.
Andy's one of the few guys we have on the team that you can actually throw a jump ball to. He's got great size, and if you got a corner that's sub 6 foot on him, I don't mind them throwing the jump ball to Tillman just because of that height advantage. Seriously, I think he just adds a different element on the outside to this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see. We'll see what their plan is this week against the Eagles. I don't envision them playing many guys because I think
Neither do I.
all the 1s and 2s get their good work in those joint practices.
Yeah,
So-
no, absolutely. I
and
mean, was
this
there?
is- Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask if there was anybody that you saw when you were running the tape back over the weekend, anybody that you saw that you felt like stood out, that was maybe a little bit surprising or just was noticeable on tape.
Not particularly. I mean, that one running back who's probably not going to make the team had some nice runs, and I can't even think of his name. He got the bulk of the carries.
Gotcha.
He looked all right. Obviously, I mean, 12.
Yeah, 12.
12 was a talk, man.
I was actually really the one person I really wanted to look good was Carson Schlesinger, and he looked very good. I forget what his. I know he had like six or seven total tackles, but he only played like 10 to 15. So he was like hovering around the ball. I saw 49 everywhere when I was watching the tape.
That's a good evaluation. I actually had heard a scout say yesterday, the kid just finds the football.
Yeah.
And they said that's translated already. They've seen that in practice. They saw that in the game, the limited game reps.
Yep.
They said, he's going to be a guy who's going to be like a tackling machine. And I think we haven't talked about him enough, and I'm glad you brought him up because I think for the Browns, it instills so much confidence in him that they're going to let him wear the green dot and run this thing.
Is that official?
Not official, but that's the.
You know what's so funny? Before you start, I was actually thinking about like I could see in a year or two him having the green dot already. If they do that this year already, I mean that's very high praise for him.
Well,
in order for them to be able to trust him to run that,
I guess with Jordan Hicks was supposed to, and
right?
His sudden retirement just changed the whole linebacking room. And so now you're looking at Schlesinger is probably going to be your main guy. And
yeah.
I think Jerome Baker will be out there quite a bit, too.
I was going to bring him up and say that he could have potentially been a green dot candidate. But typically you want that green dot to be the middle linebacker of that defense. Whereas Baker, I mean, he's so versatile. They'll play him everywhere, I think.
Right.
I am excited for his addition to this defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Hometown guy from Benedictine.
Yep.
I know that I had read a report somewhere that Delpit had volunteered for it, but they weren't. Jim Schwartz wasn't thrilled about it because he's far back a lot, and that's just a lot of running.
That's fair.
Extra running around for him. So Jim Schwartz said he preferred somebody in the middle.
I love that out of Delpit though, being like, yeah, I'll take that on.
We talked about
it. Oh no, I know
that leadership story about and all that. Mason Graham, his tape. I know people keep showing the play where he got pushed back by Robert Hunt. And that didn't look good, but he also did have a couple other plays where he did look pretty damn good. So hopefully, because I mean, I know that a lot of the vets, obviously, I just said it, are going to get their work in, today. Well, they got their work in today, and they will tomorrow as well. But these young kids, I want them out there on Saturday. Carson Schlesinger,
100%.
Mason Graham,
all of them.
All those rookies. If Shador's healthy, let him start again.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you.
So,
and I also saw a play going back to the Mason Graham thing of people bringing up that he was potentially struggling. I also saw a few different reps that he had in the Eagles practices where he took on a double team and he was pushing the double team backwards and McGuire got to the quarterback. So the ups and downs of the rookies, and we obviously saw that play a few weeks ago with him. Like I shouldn't say steamrolling, but getting by Wyatt Teller just with his quickness wasn't even his strength at that point.
That's a big deal because this is a Super Bowl champion offensive line. I mean, this is a damn good line,
right?
And McGuire, we talked about at the end of last year. Hopefully, he can continue trending upward because towards the end of the year last year, he was one of those guys who stood out to both of us as we reviewed the game.
I felt like we saw 57 everywhere out there towards the end of the year, like noticeably around the football.
Yeah, and I actually think if I'm looking at the team and as a whole, obviously they won 3 games last year. It's far from a perfect team. That goes without saying. But if I had to look at a position of strength where I'm like, where do the Browns actually have a lot of depth? And where do I feel really confident they have one of the upper echelon position groups in the NFL? I'd say defensive tackle and defensive end. I really believe that they have good depth and strong people there.
I think that honestly, when it comes to the trenches in general, I think that about the offensive line too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we haven't really talked about it a lot, but DeJuan lost a lot of weight and supposedly
Yeah, hopefully he's quicker.
Yeah, I mean.
And I'm really interested to see what Michael Hall is going to look like this year if he ends up actually receiving that full-time starting role.
Well, yeah, and I don't think he will right off the bat because I don't believe he's been activated from PUP yet. He's still dealing with the knee surgery from the offseason. But you look at some of those other guys you have, like we talked about McGuire. Alex Wright was playing really good football until he got hurt last year. That's a strong piece to bring back.
Yeah.
Obviously, 95, that we don't really have to spend any time talking about him. We know we're getting there. And then, you go to the defensive tackles. Obviously, Graham, a lot of people are really excited for, oh my gosh, his name's escaping me. 49ers, also Dallas. Collins.
Malik Collins.
And then don't forget about Shelby Harris. I know he's been around forever, but he's still a damn good.
Yeah, he's still solid. He's still a good rotational defensive tackle for a team.
Absolutely.
No, he totally is.
And, I think Shelby Harris, since he's signed here, has been pretty effective. It's just a lot of times those D tackles, and that's the thing with Graham, even if, like you pointed out, eating up the double team, the casuals are going to freak out if Graham doesn't have a lot of statistical numbers in the box score. But if he's eating up those double teams so that 95 and McGuire and Alex Wright and whoever else they want to throw in there at end can get around quicker, then hell yeah, Mason Graham, I'm all for it.
Well, and if the defensive tackles and defensive ends, if the depth's there and we're actually getting to the quarterback relatively frequently, that's just going to give more confidence to our defensive backs. And the defensive backs right now, along with the linebackers too, are kind of where you're feeling a little bit scared kind of going into this season. Obviously MJ Emerson goes down. We don't really have that solidified piece opposite of Grant Delpit at safety right now. We're kind of relying on Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome to run that secondary. Obviously Delpit in there too, but
my guess would be it's going to be Hickman.
I think it's going to be Hickman too, and I think Delpit's going to be closer to the box because Hickman
did sign a veteran safety whose name's escaping me too, I think.
Yeah. But no, Ronnie Hickman, when he had his opportunities, especially in 2023, that pick six, he was running what felt like right at me when we were in the stadium against the Jets, that pick six. So, whenever he's had an opportunity, he's been able to play pretty well. I know they tried him at corner a couple times in the preseason last year to see if he could handle that, and it seemed like his better position was definitely safety. He seemed to get toasted. Yeah, he's 100% a safety. I would imagine it's probably going to be Hickman at free and Delpit at strong. Which it's not like I hate that safety tandem. I would just feel more confident with somebody more proven than Hickman.
And I don't think Denzel Ward, who's now a 8-year veteran, has shown any signs of slowing down.
No, I don't either. He still gets the better of Jamar Chase. It reminds me of when Joe Hayden and A.J. Green used to match up against each other. I used to know every single time that A.J. Green was going to have like 3 catches for 25 yards, it seemed like.
Okay, there it is. I forgot. They signed DeMonte Casey. That's the veteran safety I was thinking about. So
I know they signed that Nick Needham dude from the Chiefs at corner.
Yeah.
It's going to be like our 4th or 5th corner. I think Cam Mitchell, I know we talked off air about it, but I think, Newsome's going to move outside corner-wise. I think Cam Mitchell's going to be given that full-time nickel role. And I'm excited for that because him and Newsome played together at Northwestern, so there's a little bit of chemistry there. And Cam Mitchell's more of a natural nickel corner anyway, so I'm excited to see how he fits in. Obviously, the loss of MJ sucks, but...
Yeah, and then they also have Rayshawn Jenkins, who's been around the league for quite a while as well. He played last year with Seattle. So they have veteran safeties there, too. So I actually am not that worried about the second. Look, if the Browns are going to be even remotely okay this year, this is going to have to be a elite defense.
Yeah, it is.
They're going to have to really...
it has to be a replica of 2023.
They're going to have to take the bull by the horns and really carry this football team. Also, Devin Bush, for as much as Steelers fans hate him, and when we sign him, I'm like, why the bleep are we signing this guy? He was actually pretty okay last year.
Yeah, he was
fine.
fine.
I expect pretty much the same from him again this year.
Same.
And then Diabate, too.
I like Diabate a lot.
Yeah, he
flies.
I was just going to say, he always seems to be in on the play, too. If he's not there, he's getting it. If he's not there, he's running up right next to it. If he's not doing that, he's getting an assist. So I actually think this defense, as we sit here and break it down, is going to be pretty damn good. And then, of course, I like the guy who's calling it. I trust Jim a lot.
Yeah, obviously. Jim Schwartz is a beast.
He's probably one of our best defensive coordinators we've had.
I think you could argue he's the best defensive coordinator we've had since the return.
Really?
Yeah.
There could be a. You know who actually ran an underrated defense here was Dick Duran. God rest his soul. He's passed
I thought you were going to say Ray Horton.
No. Ray Horton was on the double on the payroll, though, because he had a 4-year contract from 2013, got fired, and Hugh brought him back. So he was getting 2 checks from the Browns every week. So that's fun to know.
Yeah, Joe Woods was horrible.
He was one of the worst.
Joe Woods was one of the worst, 100%. Jim O'Neill was not great.
Jim O'Neill might be the worst. Yeah, he was bad.
Jim O'Neill was horrible.
You know,
I loved Ray Horton. I know he wasn't the best, but I loved Ray Horton. I also loved Rob Ryan too.
If you're going even before Rob Ryan, throwing it way back, Mel Tucker ran a good defense here.
Yeah. Early 2000s.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. Obviously, what happens, and we'll react to the Philadelphia game next week. But I think anything other Browns things we need to talk about?
I don't think so. I think we got just about everything. Nice recap, nice preview for this upcoming week. Will be interesting to see. I'm a little bit less excited for this upcoming game, just with doesn't sound like we're going to have a real quarterback at the helm. So
yeah, you got Tyler Huntley, who's a camp body, who at this point, if these guys don't get healthy, like you pointed out, may make the active roster.
Well, he might have to. He might just have to play the entire game against the Eagles. I don't think he's going to make the active roster.
I don't know if they have to pup. What do you think they're thinking right now? Is Kenny the odd man out? What do you think? If you're Andrew Berry, what are they thinking?
If I were Andrew Berry, I think it would be almost just solidified that it's going to be Joe Flacco and the 2 rookies. And then if you have to cut Kenny Pickett, then you have to cut Kenny Pickett if you can't get anything for him, and it's a waste of a trade. I thought it was a stupid trade to begin with. Yeah.
I saw a report this week from Albert Breer, who I actually trust a lot, Monday morning quarterback, that there were other teams that were involved in the trading for Kenny Pickett. It wasn't just the Browns. I'm sorry. I trust Albert immensely. I think he's always pretty spot on. I do have to admit, I find that hard to believe that there were multiple teams knocking on the Eagles' doorstep just salivating over getting Kenny
Well, I don't
Pickett.
know if maybe it's just checking in to see what the market would be if a team was looking for a backup quarterback.
Maybe. I don't know. I just find that hard to believe. The whole, and I don't mean to diss Albert. I mean, he's always pretty spot on with his evaluations. But when I heard that from him, I was just about fell out of the chair reading that.
I do remember driving home from work and getting that update and just going, oh my God, are you kidding me? We traded for Kenny Pickett, the dude, the Steelers fans that we know that we used to make fun of for them having Kenny Pickett at quarterback.
The guy wears 2 gloves and throws bounce passes.
We got texts from them immediately.
Oh, yeah, terrible.
Yeah. All
right, well, let's move on. The Guardians, things were going real well, and now they're not.
Yeah, they had won 10 out of their last 12, 6 out of their last 7. And now they're losing right now. Before we started the episode, they were losing.
13-4 last I checked in. That game
so it's
has
over.
gone final. It is 13-4.
Okay.
So
they have now won 10 out of their last 13, 6 out of their last 8.
So I guess let's talk about the positives first. Gabriel Arias might have had his best at bat ever tonight.
Yeah, I saw that at bat. It was in a key moment of that game, too.
Yes.
In a very key moment. 2 outs, 2 on, down 3.
Ended up meaning nothing. But, man, did he battle Perez. He battled Yuri Perez, the pitcher for Miami, and battled him and battled him and battled him. 10-pitch at bat, or I think 9-pitch at bat on the 10th one, hit one halfway up the bleachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arias is, as much as we've criticized him and maligned him on this show, since he's come back from the ankle injury, he's been a little more consistent. He still just swings at too many pitches out of the zone.
Still guesses too much.
Yes.
That's the whole thing we've been talking with him all season about. Is you still get the at bats where he faces 3 pitches out of the zone, but strikes out on 3 pitches because he's just going up there and he's decided that he's going to swing at everything. You still have that with him, but then you just randomly get the at bat, like you said about tonight, Jerome. You randomly get that awesome at bat, or you get the random game where he goes 2 for 4, and then he goes into his 0 for 8 stretch.
Which I saw today, I was listening when I was on my way to the studio here. I was listening to the game, and it was Rosenhaus's innings, and he had mentioned that he's hitting 330 with runners in scoring position this season. So maybe they just need to get ghost runners out there, and he I mean,
He'd
I
be
don't
a
know.
great pinch hitter in the 10th inning.
Good gosh. I mean, because when it's like nobody's on base, you just watch them go up there and whiff away. But let's focus on the positives. Like we said, it ended up meaning not a damn thing. But at the time, that was a huge at-bat that climbed them right back in the game. And I think that's why, as frustrated as the fan base, including us, gets so aggravated with Gabriel Arias. Like, I think that when he does things like that, the front office is still hanging on to that. Like, they see this potential of this guy, and that's why I think, unfortunately, he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. And I think, actually, it's funny. I almost texted you this when the homer happened. But, this is Paul Dolan's favorite thing ever, is that he can look back on this in the offseason and say, well, you remember that 3-run shot he hit in the game that we lost 13-4? You remember that?
They'll love that, because guess what? I think Arias, has another year league minimum, so he'll
be back.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Speaking of league minimum guys performing well, Brian Rocchio's average is up to like 235, and he has done nothing but hit the hell out of the baseball since he's come back. And I like the whole Arias at short, Rocchio at second thing right now, and kind of what they've effectively done with Kafis coming up, and we'll touch on him in a minute because he deserves it. They've effectively eliminated Nolan Jones. I mean, to the point of where, like, what's the point of having him on the roster? If you already have your left-handed bats in Schneemann and Kafis, and then
Manzardo
and Angel, who can hit from both sides of the plate, that you trust to play those outfield spots, at this point, I know because it was so ugly, people were going to call me crazy. I think I'd DFA Nolan and think about Big Christmas coming back up. Because you can use another right-handed stick.
Yeah, you could, but he was
putrid.
Yes. I mean, he's the definition of what we've called like a quad A player. I mean, I'll always be extremely thankful for that home run he hit against the Yankees. It's one of my favorite sporting moments of all time.
Oh, it's
the pure shock of that moment was.
And by the way, if you go back to our New Year's Day episode, if you want to go that far back, we had ranked the top 10 moments in Cleveland sports last year.
I believe that was my number one, I
believe that was either 1 or 2 for both of us. So check that out from 2024.
Yeah, the last episode of 2024.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I mean, I think there's 0 point to Nolan Jones' average is down to like 208. It feels like he hasn't gotten a hit since before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
I actually, it's funny because I've been sitting here, and pardon my French, bitching up a storm about Nolan for months and months, and it looks like the rest of Cleveland has joined me and my because I saw they tweeted the lineup last night, and the first like 15 replies were, "Why is Nolan Jones in there? What the hell with Nolan?" Like, people were pissed. So,
yeah, and I've been one of those guys that's been very stubborn to move off of my take when it comes to Nolan Jones, but I have off of my take. We've talked about this. He was almost like, the people that know me pretty close, the people that have listened to this podcast, the loyal listeners already know this. I was very much the same way with Isaac Okoro. Never really came off my stance. I always kind of defended what he was able to contribute to the team. Did the same thing with Nolan Jones, and I have come off the Nolan Jones bandwagon.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's made it. This entire season has made it hard for you as a Nolan Jones truther to keep carrying on your beat, man, because it is brutal.
No, it's been tough. It's been tough. I just, it takes a lot for me to move off of a guy that I believe in.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. That was a miss for me, and that was my breakout player of the year as well.
Well, mine didn't work out too well either. So,
whose was yours again?
I want to say I did Junis, and Junis has actually pitched pretty well lately, but like, I thought he was going to be like moving to like the 7th, like high leverage constantly. Look, they're hanging around this playoff race, and something tells me they're going to get in.
And Manzardo's had a really good week too.
Manzardo's had a really good month.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Yeah, Manzardo's been hot.
He's got 21 homers. I mean, he's got a damn good chance to finish 30 if Stephen Vogt lets him out of the cage against the left-handers.
Dude, I'm always impressed. It seems like I shouldn't say always, but 8 to 9 out of 10 times, I always come away impressed when Kyle Manzardo, like after his at bats, whether he's out, whether it's a hit, whether it's a fly out, whatever. His approach, I've always been impressed with
Yeah,
at the plate.
I agree.
And he does randomly. That's why I say like 8 to 9 out of 10 because
He
there
has
is
these,
the
random 3-pitch strikeouts out of thin air.
Yeah, like out of nowhere. Yes, where he'll chase one in the dirt that has no business being chased. But for the at bats that he puts together, I've been a huge fan of the season that he's put together for the Tribe so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how you couldn't be because they lacked offense for so much majority of the year. He's got 21 homers. The OPS is in the high 800s. And there's nothing to look at his numbers and be like, ew about.
Right.
I mean, they're all nice, especially for a team that lacks bats so much. Gavin Williams, finally it looked like, okay, he throws a no-hitter. He's turning and then tonight we just get 3 innings. First pitch homer again, to Xavier Edwards for the Marlins. It's just like every time you're like, yes, I'm in my mind, I solidify Gavin as an ace. He follows it up with just a bull crap outing the next time. And we watched it literally unfold this evening.
Yeah, he still puts together, I would say, more good outings than bad outings.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I always find myself too when it comes to whenever I go to a Tribe game, I always feel like Gavin Williams is on the mound. I don't. It's one of those guys that I'm always like, oh, sweet, I'm seeing Gavin pitch again. But no, he puts together a lot of good outings. But yes, you're right, Jerome. It seems like one out of every 3 to 4 performances he goes out there and lays an egg.
Like right now, if I looked at him on any major league team, I'd say, yeah, it's a good 2 or 3. I mean, the ERA before tonight's blow up was at 3.17. I don't know exactly what it is now after tonight's poor outing. But you're
Probably
like, wow, that's a
mid-threes.
really good 2 or 3. But then you get so frustrated with him because you're like, wow, he's just oozing ace potential, and then when you think he's ready to become the ace, it just
he has the game where he doesn't have the command.
Yes,
basically,
yes, exactly. So they did win last night, and a big part of that was Jose Ramirez, and obviously, like, how much more is left to be said? Stephen Vogt put it perfectly last night. He's like, you guys come in here every night and ask me. He's like, I have nothing else to give you. He's like, he's amazing. He has saved us multiple times. He's like, and he's gonna have a statue someday. Like, and Vogt's 100%.
Yeah, the
right.
Guardians even tweeted that out on his home run on his home run the other night. They tweeted out, build the statue, and it was just a video of his home run.
Yes.
Like, they basically already announced that he's getting a statue.
Right, exactly. So hits one of the like, this is just Jose in a nutshell, right? Comes off this brutal road trip, which we can give them credit. Somehow with Kwan and Ramirez doing absolutely nothing, absolutely positively nothing, they somehow win 5 out of 6. And it wasn't, granted, okay, the White Sox, yeah, they suck, but they went to New York, and we hooted and hollered about that on last week's episode about the sweep. But they went 5-1 with the rest of the guys actually having to do something, and that was a big deal. And then Jose said, yeah, bleep this, comes back last night, hits a homer in the first. Ball club's tied in a 3-3 game in the 8th and hits one out of there. And it was his 27th multi-home run game. He passed Jim Thome and Albert Bell. He's now first in that in franchise history. And, Kevin, you watch a lot of these ball games just like I do. Every night you watch, you feel like Matt and Rick and Andre are telling you about some new record he broke. And it's not literally like once a month. I mean, this is like multiple times a week they're doing this.
Yeah, I would say, but it feels like at least like once a week there's something that Jose Ramirez ends up getting put into, or he moves into top 3 in franchise.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be necessarily number 1, but there's always some list that he's moving up, and obviously that's going to continue as long as he's here, just with the longevity of him being here now at this point in his career. You know, he's up there with the Tomies, like you just mentioned, and the Albert Bells, and yeah.
My dad, who's been watching them for years and years and years, I mean, he goes back to, the 70s and 80s watching these guys, and he told me tonight, he goes, he's one of the greats. He goes, and he's absolutely probably a top 5 player in their franchise history.
In Cleveland baseball history.
Absolutely. So we just, obviously we're going to continue just like everybody else to praise him because he deserves it. And, he's a humble guy. He's doing his interview last night, and Kaylee Griffin was filling in for Knott. And I'm watching it, and he's talking about himself, and you can tell he's always very uncomfortable talking about himself, but you can tell there was a part of him that was pretty honored to move up to another category of number 1 and pass 2 guys who were pretty big, pretty huge parts of the 90s teams here, and Bell and Thome. And you can tell he's humbled, but he's very uncomfortable. Then they ask him about Kaylee asks him about Manzardo's homer, and he lit up like a Christmas tree. He's always putting others in front of himself, and, you know,
He's done that his entire career, basically.
it's just the leadership is not he doesn't say a lot, but how are you as the 25th or 26th man on the roster not going to bust your ass every day and play hard every play when the best player and a top 5 player in franchise history is doing the little things every day? His leadership by example is just so important to the entire franchise, I believe.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think he's maybe the number one case of, actions speak louder than words when it comes to these superstars. A lot of guys will say it doesn't matter about the money. It doesn't matter about the money. I just want to be in this city. We've beat that contract into the ground basically talking about it, but like how many tens of millions of dollars did he pass up? $100 million probably that he passed up.
At this point, you're probably looking at somewhere between 100 and 150.
Yeah, that he passed up. Like, actions spoke louder than words. He never came out. He never did the Myles Garrett thing where he bashed the organization or anything like that and then accepted the richest contract for somebody at that position ever. No, he just went in, had a private conversation with ownership, basically insisted that he was going to remain here, and it had to be at least a semi-respectable offer, and that's what he got, was a semi-respectable offer.
Yeah. I think, and maybe this, and I don't know, because obviously comparing eras back when Babe Ruth and them guys, I mean, they were plumbers, in the offseason, electricians.
Right.
But I think in the modern era, it is probably going to go down is Cleveland has a very rare conundrum right now. They have probably the worst contract in sports history as a city, but also probably having the best contract in sports history.
Yeah, I think you can make that argument. Obviously, you're talking about Jose in baseball and then Deshaun Watson in the NFL.
Yep, exactly.
The albatross, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about one of Paul Dolan's favorites. That's C.J. Cafis, another guy making league minimum. And boy, he's
been the boost that we've been wanting. He's been the
Yes.
boost, and a lot of us wanted DeLauder, but I'll take what Cafis has been giving us over the last week and a half.
And we talked about this with guest of the show, Phil Yan. We were going to say, boy, when the offense really stunk and they finally do bring up Cafe, it's going to be like, man, that would have been really helpful in June. You brought him up too late. And I'm already starting to get those feelings because when that offense went through that 10-game losing streak, you had C.J. Cafis, who has started 8th and has been hitting the ball so well. Tonight, he was 5th.
Dude, I was just going to say, they've already moved him up into the top, basically the top half of the lineup.
Yes. And, I mean, there's nothing not to like. Is he going to hit a slump eventually? I'm sure he is.
Yeah, of course he is.
All players do.
Well, and he's a rookie. Of
Yes.
course he's going to hit the major league slump. It's going to happen.
But
biggest thing, though, you can't freak out about it. I know we're getting to that point in the season where each game becomes that much more important.
yes.
So, like, when the slump happens, it's going to hit at a difficult time.
I was just going to say, unfortunately for the ball club, it's probably going to hit when they need him most. But that's just baseball, man.
No, it is.
That's literally, I got to know that it's just baseball, man. It's the way it goes.
The way it works. The hottest teams, when we get to the postseason, it's always the hottest team. It's not always the best. I mean, last year was definitely the best team that ended up winning it, but it's typically not always the best team in baseball. It's the team that gets hot in October and early November.
Absolutely. All right, well, it's time for the final segment of the show.
Odds and ends.
All right, let's hit it. We'll save that one for last. I see my first bullet point. I'll let you touch on that. Because I got nothing to contribute.
No, I don't even know why it doesn't even have to be on the rundown. I'll just say it. Producer Eric and I, it was MGK day and MGK weekend over this previous weekend. It was a good time, big festival kind of on Sunday. Shaq was in town. Matt Rife was in town. Jenna Bandy was in town. There were a lot of big time people that were in town, so I thought that was pretty cool. Good experience was had.
Awesome. I'm glad you kids had
That's
fun.
it. That's all we had.
Good.
All we got for you.
Good. All right. Something else. Padres completed a 3-game sweep of the Dodgers. They now lead the NL West.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Love to see it. Yep.
Yeah, you do love to see it, and that's one of those when it comes playoff time, Jerome. I know we talked about this off the air, but that Padres-Dodgers series always seems to be extremely entertaining.
Yeah, I hope they match up in the postseason.
So do I.
I remember when we were growing up, and back when George Steinbrenner owned the team, everybody viewed the Yankees as the evil empire. Man, everybody goes to the Yankees. Well, now for the kids growing up today, that's turning into the Dodgers. So anytime that the evil empire is overtaken, even if it's in their own division, in a division lead, you got most of America rooting for David over Goliath. And guess what? Even though the Padres spend a fortune and a ton of money,
Yeah, they're a top 5 payroll, correct? Or are they top 10? I know they're at least top 10.
But they still have never been able to overtake the Goliath and the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to have, if they match up in the playoffs, A, I think it's going to be the most viewed series.
Yeah.
And then B, I think you're going to have most of this United States of America getting behind the Friars, man.
I 100% agree with you. And I always love thinking about that game that you and I watched. I forget which game it was in that Dodgers-Padres series, but it was like 6-6 in the first 2 innings. We were high-fiving over just the electricity in the crowd.
Oh, it was phenomenal. And
it was awesome.
I'm so disappointed the Padres blew that because they literally could have won it all last year.
Yeah, I think they could have too.
Yep.
I think they probably would have.
I agree. Well, speaking of, we just mentioned New York. The other team in New York, all-time home run leader for the Mets is now the polar bear.
Pete Alonso.
Darryl Strawberry with 2 of them last night. And I've always loved Pete Alonso. I don't know. It's like one of those guys I have an affinity for, and I think it sounds so stupid, but just witnessing him win the home run derby his rookie year in Cleveland,
Very
ever
cool.
since then, I've had an affinity for him. So not all that important. I mean, people here don't really give a crap about Met statistics, but that was just more of a me putting it
No, but
out
that's
there.
we can kind of also relate that to Jose, another 2 home run performance that
Yes.
solidifies yourself into a staple in that organization. Very cool.
And then football news: James Cook getting paid by the Bills, $12 million a year. Huh?
$12 million, 4 years, almost $50 million. I believe it was $48 million, and this comes like a week after that Kyron Williams deal.
Right.
That was like 3 years, 33, or 3 years, 36. So there was clearly James Cook was clearly having a conversation with that Bills organization, I think, of where he's valued in terms of that contract and how much longer he can potentially be playing. Because I know I was looking, Kyron Williams plays like a significant amount of more of snaps. Like James Cook actually plays less than 50% of the snaps with the Bills, where Kyron plays like 60 plus.
Well, the one thing I like about both those backs is versatility, man. They can block, they can pass catch, and they can run.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's really cool too because
And they're keeping the homegrown talent.
for a while running backs were so cast aside. Remember,
I feel like sometimes they still kind of are.
they are, but Saquon could not even get money from the Giants. He's the league's best back. Obviously we know here the whole Nick Chubb saga. He's going to be playing for Houston. We don't have to revisit that. It makes us sad.
Yep.
But I don't know, just because of how devalued these guys as a whole were by NFL GMs and owners. I love when any running back gets paid now. I really just it's almost me rooting for the little guy, David.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy though, considering, and I know the ESPNs and stuff have beat this conversation into the ground, but the receivers that are making $30 million a year, James Cook's a top 10 running back probably in the league, and he's making $12 million.
Yeah.
Like the percentage, or I shouldn't say percentage, but yeah, maybe I should say percentage, but $12 million for a top 10 running back who's going to touch the ball 20 times a game, whereas a receiver is going to touch it maybe 6 times, and they're getting paid twice the amount. It's still kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, I agree. It is absolutely wild how pass happy and how much pass catchers get paid nowadays, even tight ends. Running backs are just the lowest paid position on offense, but it's nice to see them at least get
I agree.
a little bit of money.
Absolutely.
Right? Everybody needs their bread.
And everybody knows, and we talked about this too, about Nick Chubb and why the Browns ended up letting him go. But, they do, it's the earliest prime of any position in the entire NFL. These guys are out of the league by age 28, 29 sometimes.
Yep, absolutely.
And those are the elite running backs.
Todd Gurley, probably the most glaring example.
Todd Gurley was a Pro Bowler and then fell off.
Todd
Literally,
Gurley was a top 3 back in the league.
and he was,
not to say everything's related to fantasy football, but good God, he'd be literally a top 3-4 pick in your draft.
No, dude, he was a first-team All-Pro, and then the following year had trouble making a training camp roster. It was literally that fast that he fell off a cliff. It was unbelievable.
He had that 1 year with Atlanta, and he was kind of crap.
Yeah.
All right, that will do it for this week's show. You can follow us on all the socials at CLE Sports Realm. You can like us, give us a thumbs up, subscribe on 3 different platforms. We're available for you on the YouTube, on the Spotify, and on the Apple Podcast. Please make sure to, like we said, rate and subscribe. Comment on any of the platforms as well. You can also follow us, of course, on X, Twitter, whatever the heck you want to call
TikTok at CLE Sports Realm.
Yep. As I said, CLE Sports Realm. Don't forget the handle. Don't wear it out. And in closing, we just want to say thank you to Carlos Santana for providing us, not this year so much, but many great years in the past in Cleveland baseball. And episode 41's for you, buddy. Good night, everybody.
Go Tribe.